just summarizing it. So, we avoid all the carbohydrates except your leafy greens and your non-starchy vegetable. Cooked is a big deal. We'll get to that in a second, but that's it. Sprouts are good. Sea vegetables are good at this point because of Fukushima. You got to do Maine coast sea vegetables, or it has to be from the Atlantic. It's a problem. The diet's slightly ketogenic, 25 to 35% carbohydrate. So this is the overall: 25 to 45% raw plant, 10 to 20% protein, and 25 to 35% carbohydrate. Once you're done with the diabetes, you can do 45%, but that's what we do. So, power of live food is tremendous in this process. That's what I want you to get. It really worked at 100%. And it really decreases the driving force behind all chronic disease, including diabetes, which is inflammation. I call it para-inflammation. There is a lot of weight loss there. That means you're not going to be in leptin resistance, which is really good, and you're not going to be inflamed. As I said, some people have lost up to 45 pounds in 3 weeks, just by going on a healthy diet. We're nothing special. It is the biblical diet, obviously, in Bereshit or Genesis 1:29. It's what the diet is. It's basically your fruits and vegetables and your nuts and seeds. All organics good because pesticides, herbicides definitely attack the beta cells of the pancreas. Moderate exercise, what do I mean? 20, 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week, like a fast walk. I mean, I do a lot more than that, not that much more, but I'm saying moderate. You got to get your 7 hours of sleep or your blood sugar does go up. Power of meditation. You have to individualize your diet. Some people need higher protein, some people need lower protein. That is key because we're genetically different. There's 20, 30,000 genes and maybe 200,000 gene variations. We are different, so you have to individualize it. There's no one diet for everybody. Huge mistake in the system, how people talk about it. Ketogenic diet or high-fat diet or you got to know you're a unique individual. And more than that, your needs change a little bit with age. But it is programmed on the chromosome 19. It says how much protein, how much fat, how much carbohydrate you should have. So it is a real thing, and you have to kind of trial and error to figure it out. The holistic effect of this whole approach, when it all comes together, and loving yourself enough to want to heal yourself. So that is the story. We're always taken by surprise by any new example of common sense. And I'm adding this because I think it's important. You might feel bad about the way the world is. I'm an optimist, okay? But it'll be okay. Why? Because people like you are in this world. Think about it. We do make a difference. Okay? Even though I've shifted, we're not doing the whole center, I still see people for holistic healings when I'm there, because I'm more around the world and more giving talks. So, thank you very much. And remember, the world's a better place because of you. Keep that in mind. Well, we went over 1 hour and a half. But can we get 5 minutes for questions? Yeah. Okay, any questions anyone has? Yes. What we can do to protect from radiation? Well, So I'm going to give you an answer, which is, I can't do this in 1 minute. We have a variety of protocols, and maybe there'll be a space where I can give a little talk. It's like more than a little bit. We have homeopathics called rad-nude, take the radiation out. We have things that block the 5G EMF. We have a thing called the quantum guard, that we have that actually seriously protects you from a lot of this, including walking right up to a cell tower and not being affected. So we have, a lot of stuff like that. But it's more than I can explain here. All right, but if you, on the mailing list, if you want, I have 11-page paper to give you some feeling for the 5G issue. Yes?
So is there a difference with the influence of high fructose corn syrup versus fructose in fruits? And do you allow like fruits in the diet, and which kinds and how much?
Okay, so it's kind of it is fructose total. The fructose corn syrup it's just not as healthy, but we're talking 15 to 25 grams of fructose from whatever source. The body doesn't distinguish it as, so 2 bananas are going to put you over it. 3 kiwis are going to put you over that. So particularly when you're, for diabetes and treating cancer, we say no until your blood sugar is at least less than 100.
How about for cancer?
Cancer is, Brian and I are 100% in agreement, 0 fruit. Because cancer cells love fructose 10 times more than they love glucose.
Thank you for a great presentation. There's a conflict that I had. At one point you said a cholesterol of 280 or 260 in women
270.
270 is very beneficial, less likely of mortality. And then on your slide,
28% less mortality for women.
Right, but then on your slide you said 159. This diet and lifestyle drops your cholesterol to 159, which is protective.
Right.
So to me it seems kind of conflicting. Can you comment on that?
Well, what I'm trying to explain is there's an optimal range. Okay? And the big issue, particularly for vegans, is going to be a low cholesterol. That's what I'm saying. And we have things that happen with low cholesterol that are not in our favor, as I just went through a whole bunch of them. So what I'm saying is try to keep your cholesterol above 160 to avoid 4 times more depression, 6 times more suicide, and neurological degeneration. Well, the New England Journal is talking about 160 to 260 doesn't affect you in terms of heart disease. I like 160 to 200, 210. That's just my kind of opinion. The research says 160 to 260. The big issue is everybody goes, gotta go low cholesterol. No, that's dangerous. Okay, we knew that back at Columbia Medical School, in terms of people's mental state, that low cholesterol does create more depression. Not good. It decreases your ability to pick up serotonin, your postsynaptic site. So we want to, does that answer your question? Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So, a recurring theme in my mind is the confusion with different diet claims and seemingly scientific support for them. So, we had presentations in the general media, PBS, etc. There's authorities talking about high-fat diets. Fat is your friend, fat is good. Another presenter saying that it's carbs that burn clean, and we're genetically evolutionarily designed to be consuming starches. Others say, well, that only came in 10,000 years ago, and then there's a grain brain, so it causes a lot of problems. So with those, with the ones that espouse the grains are okay, the common denominator in all of these seem to be vegetables, good, but beyond that, it's absolutely no fat, no oils, and other ones fat like you. So
okay, it's a great question. One of my mentors, Pavel Arola, anyone ever heard from him? Okay. So he wrote a book called Are You Confused? So what I'm saying is there is a range according to our unique genetics. That's really key to understand why there's that much confusion. So there is a big difference between 25% fat and 45% fat in your diet. It's almost double. This depends on your chromosome 19. So there is some variation. So my message here is that you've got to explore what makes you at your optimum. Is that making more sense now? You can always find a few papers to make your point, because there is a range. Once you understand that, the real question is, we are unique individuals, and we have to find the diet that optimizes our situation. Does that, see, that's how we cut through that confusion. So you can always cite this. You can always say, you're always going to have 30% of the people doing okay with whatever you give them. You see, that's the key where it gets confusing. Because they're saying, well, our people, but they don't talk about the people who fail. But we have a certain amount of people who do really well on that. Well, that's your minimum of your 30%. Once you understand that, you can understand why there appears to be confusion if you're going to go, there's one diet that's for everybody. There is not one diet for everybody. We're not a bunch of cows. Kind of just get that idea. We are unique individuals. We have unique genetic subtle tendencies within the human race.
at the same time, though, it seems that none of us would benefit by animal products. So that those are, that we're not designed to eat them.
Animals.
Animal products, yeah.
Yeah. Correct. You know, what we say is people, I said, if you have 3% more, you're going to, you know, quadruple your rate of diabetes for women and double it for men. So we are better off in terms of the longevity studies, everything else. Vegans do live longer. That's what I can tell you. Now, it's going to vary. I'll give you one example because I don't want to go over my time and block the next person. This is myself. I noticed in studying literature that above the age of 60, 65, we actually need more protein. Now, just to be clear, at the middle ages, 45 to 60, something like that, 45 to 65, whatever, what we call middle age, it varies. People who have an excess of protein actually double the rate of mortality and quadruple the rate of cancer. Quadruple the rate of cancer, I did 5. Quadruple the rate of cancer. Got it? Age 45, let's just say that. Then I read, hey, after age 65, you actually need more protein. I'm a person that doesn't really need much protein. I have been doing about 8%, which is even lower, okay? But even on that, even on a 6-day fast, could do 600 push-ups. It's like, okay. So I'm a person that's going to say, you know, a lower protein, a little bit lower fat, higher carbohydrate. For myself, not for the other 70%. 70% need the higher protein, closer to 70 grams. I'm at 30 grams. So, but, okay, I got to make an adjustment here because I'm over 65. So a few years ago, I looked at that and said, okay, I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of blue-green algae a day. That's it. I've been stuck at 25 pull-ups. So in a month, I was at 45. I got up to over, in like 3 months, over 100, up to 100 pull-ups. What? One change. 1 tablespoon more of protein. So you have to titrate that. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So it's going to vary with your age a little bit.
Is there a test that can get you in the ballpark of what your optimum ratios
In
should
my
be?
book, Conscious Eating, I have a test. It gives you an idea, 2 sets of tests, Kapha, Pitta, Vata, and also fast or slow oxidizers. Fast oxidizers need a higher protein, so slower oxidizers, like myself, need the lower protein, lower fat, high complex carbohydrate. And there's like a 30 questions. So you get you're unique. Don't take it personally, okay? Everyone's unique. And we have to treat ourselves that way if we're going to get optimum results. So, should we
Dr.
stop?
Cousens,
Stop.
one more question?
Last question.
Yes. Thank you very much for your talk. Just piggybacking on that fact that it's very difficult to manage and treat everybody the same because everybody's unique. How would you manage a plant-based diet on patients or clients that are have Crohn's disease or have GI issues that they can't really tolerate a non-cooked type of diet?
Yeah, you can. You call blend the food.
So it'd be more of a juice.
Well,
juice.
not juice, but blended food, because then that does a lot of digestion, takes the pressure off. Plus, there are different enzymes and things like that. Plus, the use of aloe vera. There's a few things, but the answer to your question is blend the food. Really makes a difference until the inflammation calms down.
Thank you.
Because it's a good question. It's a question that comes up a lot. Okay? Okay. Well, I'm happy to talk to you here, and I hope you get the idea that you are unique. Doesn't make you special, it makes you unique. We don't want to get into being special, okay? We're all equal souls. Okay, very good.